It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, as in weather. We're talking about Tropical Storm Erin, and this is sponsored by Marco's Pizza. We're going to get to them in a moment, but I want to get to the weather because this is what's on top of mind. Everybody's talking about this. Well, what's this? Well, not these individuals, but let me take this full screen. We have three X's. Three X's mark the spot. We got a 0, 0 to 10%. We could spend, 90 seconds on that, but why would we? Because as of 11 o'clock this morning, we got a name. Her name is Erin. Erin's coming off the coast of Africa. This is still 11, actually, let me repeat this, is 2155, so it's 2,155 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands. But what that means to you and me is it's about over 3,000 miles from the mainland U.S. Does it mean it's going to hit us? No. I'm going to show you what we're seeing in terms of the data, where models tend to go, and their limitations, right? Because nobody's all-knowing, but its question is even if it's not a direct hit, certainly it could be close enough. It could cause rip currents. It could cause more beach erosion. It could cause coastal flooding. It could cause a whole host of things. So I want to get to this. This is Erin, right? This is winds now of 45. Gusting to 60, and it's moving west at 21 miles an hour. There are indications this will easily become a hurricane as early as Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do you get that? Where do you see? I'm right here, right? Once it reaches winds over the 74 threshold, it's 90. You've suddenly got a very strong Cat 1 heading into Category 2, and a major hurricane, once it reaches 111, you have the potential by Saturday. Now, this weekend, parenthetically, will be great here. But everybody who might be worried about the weather will be watching Erin, because Erin is maybe a little bit unpredictable to this far out, but we have to watch and wait and see where she's going. But I can tell you she is still about 3,000 miles from the United States in terms of distance. But the spaghetti plots, these are the individual models. There is about as many of them as you could find breakfast cereals at the grocery store. You pick which one is going to be right. Maybe they're all right? Maybe we get a cone from the National Hurricane Center that kind of looks like this down the road. Maybe there's some uncertainty. We don't know just yet. But I can show you some individual models, but I please just want to caution you, please don't lose sleep over this. This is only Monday, right? Even by Saturday, it's still way out in the middle of the Atlantic. But there could be some implications. Maybe it's get out of the water because we've got high surf, we've got beach erosion, coastal flooding at a minimum, as it makes a close pass by. When I say pass by, some of the models want to bring it as close as about 250 miles, maybe as close as 150 miles from Norfolk, maybe it's more like 500 miles. I'll show you what that looks like. It's very easy. I mean, you don't have to see and study this too far, but there are quite a few individual strands that suggest it could go this way or could go that way. But there's certainly more confidence as we get closer to the event. Now, this is what we call the Euro forecast. I'm just not going to go into the details of this, but this one has it about 250 miles from, say, Norfolk and the Outer Banks. Where am I getting that? Well, basically, all I'm doing is simply taking like a measurement here and say, okay, if this is here, let's see if this is about 200. Oh, it's actually more. This is maybe closer to 430 some miles. But again, the closest track, we'll take it probably and clear it out. We'll have to just wait and see. Now, that's option one. No, we already saw a whole bunch of them from the spaghetti plots. But if we look at maybe the 12Z GFS, this was 8 o'clock morning. This was probably a little bit further out. This one, I believe, is pretty far out there, right? This goes by closer to Bermuda. And you say, oh, it's nothing to worry about. Everybody go back home and carry on. But then 6 hours later, the same model comes in and says, no, it's closer than that. This is the same model, and it wants to bring it this close. That's pretty close. Maybe too close for comfort. So like I said, a well-defined eye, even on the modeling here. So that should be a cause of alarm, that this is something we've got to watch. We've got to monitor this. This is not over and done with. It's something that we'll keep an eye on for sure. And if you have a comment, I would love to put your voice and name and comment on the screen. I got a note from, I guess last week, this was Kim. Kim is on here. Is she on here? I think she's still on here. Let's see. I missed it. There it is. I think it's going to come on here. Let's see if I can reload this and say hi to Kim Thompson-Jones, because she is a fan of cooler weather, but I'm sure she might have, hi there, she might have a comment about this particular soon-to-be hurricane. because I can't call it a hurricane just yet. It is still Tropical Storm Erin. So thank you for your updates. If you have a question, comment, I'll put that on the screen. But in the meantime, I do want to thank my sponsor. Do I have a sponsor? I sure do. They are Marco's. They're giving away free pizza for a year like we do most Thursdays. That's going to be announced this coming Thursday. So if you'd like to register, go to our website. Go to WTKR.com/Marcos. These are the 5 locations, soon to be 6. These are the 5 locations in the 757 phone number, area code, that are going to be giving away or be able to redeem the free pizza. But here's my favorite thing to announce is they've got the 50% off promo code backed by popular demand. If you go to Marcos.com, go to WTKR50, you can get half off anything you purchase, whether it be a sub, a salad, hot wings, pizza. Maybe it's a gluten-friendly cauliflower crust pizza. Maybe it's anything, soda pop, whatever you want. It's all there. But check them out, and they also have a great lunch item. But this is the certificate for a year. This is what they're giving away on Thursday, so we'll be making those announcements this week. The Pozzoli there on the left is one of my favorite lunch items to grab from them, and the Pepperoni Magnifico is the one-topping pizza. But I do want to thank Marcos for giving us out, giving out to the community to satisfy your appetites, free pizza, and sometimes we give away individual pies. All right, so going back to this little storm, right? This is fantasy right now. I know that a lot of people are looking at this and going, oh, it's not a fantasy. This is going way out to like next week, like Wednesday. You got a lot of time. But if you're concerned, if maybe you're new to the area, like me, maybe you want to know what is coastal flooding, what can it look like? We've had coastal flooding this summer. But if it's associated with a tropical storm or hurricane, it can be very scary. So you've got to make sure you're prepared. We've always said before, make preparations during hurricane season before the lines are forming. There's no lines for diapers right now. There's no lines for medication or baby wipes. Whatever you need to get that you know you're going to need in a situation where there could be a storm, well then always be prepared. And maybe it's not this year. Maybe it is not Erin. Maybe it's Ferdinand. Maybe it's Gabrielle. These storms haven't formed even yet, but maybe it's Hurricane Jerry. Who knows? Whatever it is, make sure you're prepared during hurricane season. And we've told you this is not a surprise for those regular viewers, First Warning Live, but if you're familiar with the climatological timeline, we usually see this peak around September 10th. So you're going to see more of these yellow X's and maybe some orange X's where there's a 40% chance of development or more. But this is not unheard of, although some people who may not pay attention to the weather forecast all the time, it could be surprising to them. So we want to make sure you're aware. Tropical Storm Erin formed at 11 o'clock this morning, and she is still going to be likely a hurricane in the coming days, so we want to watch this very closely. If you've got a comment, I'd love to say hi to you. I got the comments. I think I have 15 comments now coming in. Let me go ahead and put some of these on the screen because that way I can interact with you. Let's see here. I got a note here. If I believe this, Anastasia. Is this right to be flying here? She says, thunderstorm I'm good with. This, however, might startle my 6-year-old. Well, I'm just trying to be first warning. What does that mean? It means just to give you a heads up, right? Doesn't always necessarily mean it's going to be accurate, although I am still very proud of the fact that on July 17th, I said it's going to be cool in August. And what has August been? It's been cool, which I'll get to in a moment. But this little peak is not unheard of. It's happened before. We usually see an uptick in a big way with all the oceans warming up all summer long. You usually can get some big changes in the Atlantic season during that time frame, especially going into Labor Day. That's just standard operating procedure. Now we go back to the Virginia Beach oceanfront. I want to bring this back home for those of you that were caught in these downpours. I was caught in a downpour, and we had between Chesapeake and Virginia Beach, we had a flash flood warning, which we're going to look at here and how much estimated had fallen. But today's high, 83, normal high is 88. We were 5 degrees below normal. Every day in the month of August so far has been below normal. The record high 100 from 1900. So when you look at this, you can't dispute the fact that they are like different seasons, right? One was like low tide, that's more like this. And then July was like high tide because everything was above average. This is everything's below average. It swings like the pendulum, and that's what we're dealing with. I've had 11 days below normal, and maybe you enjoyed the weekend. I had some chances to go out and take pictures of Portsmouth yesterday. Very proud of this. In fact, I got a chance to go to Portsmouth. Now, one of the great things, it's probably the biggest city that I have spotlighted since I've been here. And bigger cities are harder to kind of capture because somebody invariably will feel like like they're left out. But I got some great pictures on Facebook. I encourage you to check them out. I'm going to show a couple of them, probably 4 or 5 of them, while you're here on this stream. But if you haven't seen my Portsmouth pictures, I'll get them on the cycle here behind me on this monitor. Right now I got Pocosin and I got Smithfield cycling through as well. So I like to do these towns. They give us a chance for me to be familiar with the area, so that when I see like a notation, hey, do you know where this is? Do you know where Fred's restaurant is in Franklin? Yes, I do. I've been inside. I've been there. Have you been to such and such in Edenton? Yes, I have. So this gives me at least a little more situational awareness. Now, Norfolk's July highs were just the opposite. Now, we had some below normal days, but it was extremely humid and it was very, very sticky. As many of you know, we had 12 days in July at 90 or higher, and we had 12 days at 90 or higher in June. So the hot part of summer certainly came early. But here's where things have changed. What am I looking at? I'm looking at the radar. Now, some of you are like, what happened here? This is where we had Chesapeake. Well, I guess, excuse me, let me move this over. It was more like maybe in here that we had some hot spots for heavy rain, and that caused the National Weather Service to issue a flash flood warning earlier this afternoon. Now, it was slated to go until precisely, it was supposed to go until 5:45, but they pulled the plug 46 minutes early. They allowed it to expire at 4:59, right before 5 o'clock. But you can clearly see there were some areas that had 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain. Now, invariably, whenever you show stuff like this, people say, well, I didn't get that. Well, maybe you weren't under this little polygon. Maybe that's where, if you didn't live here, then you didn't get close to 4, potentially. That's where it was. So I'm just looking at those amounts and wanted you to be able to see what at least the Doppler was estimating. I got a note with Betty. She has a quick question, and maybe it's the short answer I've already answered. She says, will it hit the Gulf Coast? I don't expect this to go to Florida or the Gulf Coast. We need to see it's more likely to bend it and move it up toward the cooler waters of the Atlantic, but it could come awfully close to kind of ruin a beach vacation. You know what I'm saying? If you've spent money, maybe you're coming to Virginia Beach or the Outer Banks for a week's vacation in late August, and all of a sudden there's a storm that's out to sea named Erin, and the lifeguards are saying everybody has to be out of the water. Did you want to spend that money and be told you can't go swimming? Probably not. But these are the things you kind of have to take with the territory. It comes with the territory. This time of year, it's all that little spike, usually spikes around September 10th. It's just sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. And in this case, today it was about the raindrops that fall. We had about anywhere from 1 to 4 inches or more in parts of Chesapeake and Virginia Beach this afternoon. Now, it's quieted down since. A lot of this will go to bed with the setting sun. Now, the sun goes down tonight at 8:01. This is worth noting. Today is the last day where the sun, 8:01, goes down, after 8, because tomorrow the sun goes down at 7:59. You mean the sun's going down before 8 o'clock? Yeah, maybe it makes kids go to bed a little sooner for school. I don't know. But it's symptomatic we won't do this again until May. We won't see a sunset after 8 o'clock, because tonight's the last one. You got 7 minutes or so till we get to 8 o'clock. It's all changing because the days are, in fact, getting shorter. Still have 24 hours in a day, but the fact that the sun goes down after 8 o'clock will be ending tonight as we get further into August. All right, satellite radar showing more showers, more thunderstorms. I see where things are. I got a note. Marilyn Bell, she's wanting to know, yes, it's in the Atlantic. Thank you, Marilyn. Yes, we're not too worried about Florida at this point. Let's see here. Is Taj Brown on here? He's on here. He's got something. I got a comment here. He says, talking to Anastasia, he said he'll expand the map to the whole map. Might not be possible right now, but it's plenty of time to change. There's a lot that could change with these storms, and I don't want, that's my message, right? It's still too early. As I said during the 6 o'clock newscast, we can show you all the models till our eyes and ears bleed, but until this thing gets a little bit closer, we don't have the confidence that maybe some would wish, because you can't say for sure it's this. And if you knew for sure, some people are like, they just blew it up, hyped it up. I think we prefer to know, right? If a storm is this close, maybe it's 250 miles. One model says about 150. Some says over 500 or 400. It just depends. It's only Monday for something that might occur closer to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So we got a lot of time to talk about it, but a lot of time to watch it too. All right, the rain is still filtering through Raleigh. Current conditions have sunshine in Norfolk, or at least developing sun according to the METARs. The sky condition is mostly cloudy in Manio, mostly cloudy or clouds in Elizabeth City, as well as in Edenton. But the rainfall amount in Elizabeth City, the harbor of hospitality, way to represent, an inch and a quarter, that's what you got. At least the official reading there was 1.27. That's a lot of rain, and we already mentioned there was some Doppler estimates in southern, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach. It was probably 2, 3, or 4 or more. About a half inch officially where there is a rain gauge from the Weather Service in Chesapeake, but Currituck, 1700ths. Windsor picked up about 1/3 of an inch today. So this big picture, because we were talking about it last Thursday, Friday, the weekend would have more rain opportunities for North Carolina. It would be mainly in North Carolina. That's where it's been for several days, simply because of the stalled system. We have high pressure off the coast of Massachusetts, and we've got more opportunities for this pattern to repeat again for the next couple of days. That's right. So what you had today, to be very clear, what you had today may very well repeat itself for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 3 more days, just like today. Oh man, I got poured on today. You might get poured on again tomorrow. You might not, because we're going to shuffle the deck and hand out everybody a new hand. It's about 40% chance of rain tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then we're setting up for a beautiful weekend. Can I just say, there's a beautiful weekend setting up for the Atlantic Park surfing. The wave. Oh, this thing's really, it's opening up this weekend. And they're going to have great weather. They couldn't have picked a better weekend to be out at Atlantic Park, Virginia Beach for surfing. So they're going to have the wave pool, all that cool stuff taking place here in town. Temperature in the 24-hour change, 80 in Hampton, +3. You're 3 degrees warmer now. Elizabeth City is 2 degrees warmer than they were this time last night. 77 Elizabeth City, Manu at 76. Temperature change there in Jackson, -2. It's about 2 degrees cooler in Suffolk, but the current temperature as of we approach the 8 o'clock hour is 77 in Norfolk and 79 in Newport News. Got to say hi to anyone who's on here. I got a note from Michael Morris. Is he on here? Let me say hi to Michael. He says, have you told, this is fun. He says, have you told Erin Miller that she has a tropical storm named after her? I'll tell you what, a lot of us in the TV world, and you could work in the same station, because I do the 6 o'clock and the 11 o'clock news. I'm in the PM. She's in the AM. So we work in different time hemispheres. You like that? So I don't see Erin regularly, but I'm sure she's gotten the memo. Because this was announced at 11 a.m. and she might still have been up or even working in the building at the time, I'm sure she's aware. But even what's crazier is that we have a new neighborhood reporter for Chesapeake named Erin Holly. And I said, she said, this is my first day. And I said, well, it's Tropical Storm Erin's first day too in the Atlantic. How weird is it to have 2 Erins now and an Erin in the Atlantic? But I digress. Anyway, thank you for sharing that question with me, but I appreciate you, Michael. Sometimes we kind of laugh at these things, but things we just do. We name storms simply so we have a better context and maybe a reference point. That's just the way sometimes it goes. All right, temperatures we covered. Beach forecast tomorrow. That's Tuesday, about 1 to 3 feet. It's going to be around 2, I think, but the rip current risk will be moderate. And the low tide at 4:44, 86 degrees, the temperature expected. We've talked about this many a time, that if you get caught in a rip current, try not to fight it. It's kind of hard because the instinct, I'm going to swim and try and fight it, and you wear yourself out. But you want to swim parallel to the shore to escape, and if you can't, float or tread water, and then maybe just let it pull you out like a vacuum cleaner, and then just kind of roll over and maybe swim parallel to the coast. And if all else fails, and maybe you can, call or wave for assistance, because lifeguards usually can be within reach and hopefully can assist you if you're ever caught in a rip current. All right, headlines here. Summertime storms. I've already alluded to this. Pop-up storms continue for the next how many days? 3. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to warm up to near 90 by Wednesday, Thursday, 88, 90. And then the tropical development we've already established was Erin. I thought that should be the lead. Please, Aldrich, don't bury the lead. I didn't want to bury the lead, so we covered that first. But we have tropical storm Erin. Have I mentioned one of the coolest things, this 50% off your food? I mean, when you go to Marco's, maybe you've never tried Marco's, but I can assure you this is probably one of the most popular promo codes that we have put out, that Marco's has put out since we started doing this. And this is easy. If you go to Marcos.com, and put this in the promo code, you'll get half off your order, whatever it is that you order. I mentioned that there are 5 locations, and soon to be 6, but 5 locations that are going to be participating in the contest of giving away, and that's 3 in Virginia Beach, one in Chesapeake, soon to be 2 in Chesapeake, and 1 in Norfolk. But we would encourage you to go to our webpage, go to WTKR.com/Marcos. It takes no more than a minute or two to put in your name and address, because we want to be able to send you a certificate where you could get free pizza for a year. That's one large, one topping, monthly for the year for free. And I think that's a sweet deal. We've given away probably now, I guess, 65 to 85 pizzas, individual pies, and some pizzas for certificates. It's a lot of fun, and we hope that you can participate and be a winner. But if you're hungry now, you can always check out marcos.com. All right, so we talked about the summertime storms, the warming up, and the tropical storm known as Erin. I want to check in if you have any military watching. Maybe you have interest somewhere parts of the country. Maybe you're homesick, have family far away. There's quite a bit of severe weather this evening in these orange polygon areas in North Texas. I'm looking northwest of Dallas in the Panhandle, not far from Amarillo. Looks like there's quite a few in here, so I'm just zooming in just to be sure. Yeah, you got quite a few. Carson till 7 o'clock Central. Potter and Randall counties, very destructive. You don't typically see that, but boy, that should catch your eye. If you're in this area and you see the word destructive, it looks like the size of hail is well larger than a golf ball or even a ping pong ball. So it's very large, 2.75. That's a very large threat of hail moving across parts of Texas. But this is just give you an idea that most of the severe weather, while it may not be here tonight, it's still taking place in other parts of the country. So Texas is one hot spot. One area just north, it looks like it's right on Wichita Falls, Texas. That would be areas not far from Burke-Burnett. For Wichita until 7 o'clock, hail size about 1.25 inches. And further north and east, there's more concerns for flooding, and it looks like Oklahoma. And into Missouri, they've got some flash flooding. It looks like that's currently going on. Yep, that's popping in. Cedar, Barton, Jasper counties, Craig County until 8 o'clock tonight. So a lot of water, a lot of severe weather, but we obviously are going to be worried about something or keeping an eye on something that's going on well out in the Atlantic for the next, 5 to 7 days, if not more, because we have to wait and see if it does take a sharp turn northward. We hope it does. Obviously, a lot of rain going on in North Carolina at this moment. A couple of flash flood warnings if you have family in Wake County. Looks Franklin Johnson until 9, and looks like Wake County till 9 o'clock for severe flash flooding, I should say. So flash flooding is occurring there as well. But not a whole lot going on in Virginia Beach anymore. A lot of this is beginning to slow down. A couple of showers right now around Ahoskie. If you've got a comment, let me know. The normal rainfall for this time of month or this time of year is about just under 6 inches. What may surprise you, kind of surprised me and meteorologist Tony and RG, our newest addition, was that we didn't have any measured rain at the airport today. So we're still holding steady at 0.34 for the month. Seems kind of weird because we obviously had flash flood warnings in the southern part of the city of Chesapeake and Virginia Beach, but apparently if it doesn't land in the rain gauge at the airport, these numbers are just not going to move. But that doesn't mean we haven't had rain. It's just for the official record, it's still 0 at that point for today. Highs today hit 83. We've covered that it's below average. Normal high is 88. You can see that here. Record 100, but we hit 83 in Virginia Beach, 82 in Wallops, and our friends in Manteo also hit 83 degrees this afternoon. If you've got a message, a comment, you want to share something with me, let me know. I'm looking at, let's see, Laura. I guess Laura's on here. She wants to say hello, Sunset Beach. Oh, how did I get that on there? She says hello, Sunset Beach. Well, that's I guess, I'm thinking North Carolina, Sunset Beach. But I got another note from Elizabeth. I think she might be a new comment to me. She's Elizabeth Marie Godwin. Good to see you. If you've left me a comment I didn't remember, it's good to see you here. She's making note that she's watching live as well. But if you have a specific weather question you want me to answer, I will do my best to answer it. I think Alonzo's right on target. Alonzo, hello to you, sir. He says, and I want to circle him so everybody knows we're looking at his comment. He says, this is our season. Get ready. It's funny. It's one of those things. Some people think we could have a storm. Maybe this is our turn. I've mentioned many times before that every day's a gift. It doesn't matter if it's sunny or if it's stormy. Or it's serious. We got to enjoy each day. So if you got a lot of time between now and next week, be a good time to think, what would I need hypothetically? Bags of ice on hand. Maybe have bottles of water. You might want to make those preparations in view now. Certainly, we encourage people to do it back like in May, but some people are procrastinators. I get it. Or I'll just wait and see what happens. We'll see. see what happens with this storm. But Erin is certainly something we need to watch in the days to come. All right, we've had how many of you know that we've had zero 90-degree days this August so far? So it's a big goose egg so far. When we average about 9, had 12 in July, we had 12 in June, we had, I believe, 1 in April, and 2 in May. So all told, I believe, was it 24, 25, 26, 27? Yeah, we had 27, that's right. But 0 in August. And we're going to struggle to hit 90, I think, on Thursday when you see the 7-day forecast. Current temperature 76 in Franklin. Now it's 8:05, 76 in Currituck, Kitty Hawk, and Manio, 77 Cape Charles. Dew points have been coming up. So that's the one difference, right? Our temperatures have been slow to rise, but our dew point temperatures have been rising quickly. So it's not as comfortable as it was a week ago. Well, not this weekend, the weekend before. It was comfortable, but those numbers have come back up. So now it feels more like the swamp. It feels more oppressive. It feels muggy. It feels stuffy. It's now in the 70s, even though the temperature hasn't gotten into the 90s. It's only about 83 today. But when you look at these dew points, hard to dismiss the fact that it is becoming much stickier than it was just days ago. +5. Compared to the dew point change in 24 hours, Chesapeake is 5 degrees more humid tonight at this time than they were last night at 8 o'clock. Pretty amazing stuff. And if you want to know what the dew point illustrates, it's really oppressive. Got as high as 74 today, I believe, in Norfolk International. So it's kind of pretty much close to oppressive. We're going to be hovering in the unpleasant territory for the next 5 days. It's going to feel sticky, icky, and pretty much the same, even though the temperatures may stay below July values. Temperatures, dew points across the region are obviously much stickier, where you see 70s down here. Look at Myrtle Beach. It's a little drier, a little bit less water vapor. I would imagine they're in the 50s and 40s up here, up toward maybe Syracuse or Rochester or Buffalo, where it might be a little bit more comfortable, even around up toward upstate New York. Temperature right now is very nice. I guess you would say 85 is nice. It's comfortable. It's summer-like in Knoxville. Well, it's 76 in Virginia Beach. I mentioned Knoxville because that's where I've been for the last 15 years, but I've been here for about 5 months, going on 6. 87 currently in Columbus, and it's 86 in Pittsburgh. If you've got family in other parts of the country, I'll do my best to kind of bring you up to speed with where they are. Here, speaking of the country, you don't have to go too far. It's obviously very cool in North Carolina, where it's been raining. Some other cool spots would be North Dakota and Green, the Rockies near Denver, probably much cooler there in Green. But the hot number is still out west. I mean, 111 in Phoenix, even though it's a dry heat, it's still very hot. Vegas is hot at 108. If you've got a comment, I would love to say hi to you. I got some other notes trickling in. Who is on here? Betty has asked a question. Marilyn has asked a question. So is Laura about Sunset Beach. And I got Michael on here too, so I appreciate that. Oh, I got a note from Denmark. He's on here. I think he's got some pizza. Oh, it's his pizza icon. Very cool. And he's got pizza and rain. You know, it's good comfort food. Don't knock it. It's good comfort food. I love having pizza, Marco's Pizza. When storms are coming, why not? You might as well get ready as best you can with some good comfort food from Marco's. All right, the temperatures are going to cool. I think this could have an implication on where Erin goes. Did I get your attention? He's talking about Erin again. You see all these cool colors up across Canada and up toward Quebec. There's probably going to be enough energy that comes down around the 19th, which I was talking about last week, 19th and 20th, that we could see some cooler air. And you can see it in the green. That's exceptionally cool and comfortable, almost autumnal, like fall weather up here in Quebec, not far from Montreal. But the coolness is already moving into Virginia Beach by the 21st. I said between the 19th, 20th, 21st. If we get a little trough, a little front comes in, it could, push, depends on timing, but could help steer, at least in some way, shape, or form, Erin's ultimate destination. I hope it comes nowhere near us, but if it comes within 100 or 200 miles, based on the data that I see today, that's a possibility. It's a possibility, but we have to wait and see. It's too early to tell. I know some people they want absolutes, but weather is not an absolute discipline. It's an applied science. It's not a pure science like physics or chemistry. It's applying those principles and trying to put them into real life. Okay, temperature trend 86 for tomorrow, 88 Wednesday, 90 for Thursday. That's where things are going to be. I got a note from Kim. She makes me laugh. I got to put Kim on here. She's made a point to say, hey, you can keep those 90s. I'll just put 90. Is that okay, Kim? We won't put an S on it. It'll just be barely hit 90. We could do that. But 86, 84 is obviously going to have a hard time getting 9 days at 90 in August. This August, it's going to be hard. I got to go back and look at and figure out what days, what is the fewest number of 90-degree days in August? Because we're on track. If we don't get it this week, because I only got 1 day, but if we don't hit it this week, we certainly did do it last week, we're going to be running out of August days. So it'd be kind of interesting to see. I might put my own self on that assignment and I'll let you know as I head through this week on First Warning Live. Now, rain chances, 40% Tuesday, 40% Wednesday, 40% Thursday. And then it really sets the stage for a beautiful weekend with lots of sunshine. Hopefully you'll get out and enjoy it. By the way, the rainfall forecast, why don't we just go right through this whole time frame. Let's go kind of race through the next 3 days. How much rain is projected? That's a good question. Probably between 1 and 2 inches of rain, particularly in the purple areas, but again, even where you see some red, could be over 2 inches themselves. So we have to keep an eye on the rain. We saw it was locally heavy today. It could very well be locally heavy in the next 3 days. So when it rains, it pours. It's not hard to see when you have dew points as high as it is. It's like walking around with a car wash sponge waiting to wring it out. As it's now 8:11, I got to keep moving. But this is a potential rain scenario because we'll have very little rain Friday and hardly any rain at all Saturday. So it's really the next 3 days you see on the screen here what those numbers would represent. Another way to look at it is the rainfall potential from a macro view. This does not show as much, but I do think it will be significantly higher in spots because it's always, when it's this humid, you get locally heavy rain. When it rains, it pours. Now the eastern shore, Chincoteague, about 81 for tomorrow, 82 for Onancock, Exmoor, 82, Cape Charles, about 81. If you're in the Outer Banks tomorrow, Duck should be around 80 degrees, about 82 for Kill Devil Hills with a 40% chance of showers. Nags Head, 81, 40% chance of showers, and Manio will match that, as well as Rodanthe at 80, 82 for Ocracoke, and 82 for Hatteras. That's where we expect to be tomorrow. Now, as far as the Storm Prediction Center, you can clearly see we have some colors that we use quite a bit. If you're not familiar with these colors, the dark green is isolated and the yellow is scattered. And we really have just some hot spots between now and tonight. We've already looked at some storms in the Midwest and back towards, say, Texas, but there could be some severe weather around Fargo, around Grand Forks, and back toward areas in Kansas City right through 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We could include Oklahoma City and Amarillo, where some storms are already firing up now. Back home, nothing to see here as far as severe weather. But if you're traveling to, say, Chicago, looks like Chicagoland could get some isolated severe storms tomorrow, as could Green Bay, Detroit, and maybe even Tucson, Arizona, and Silver City, parts of New Mexico. But outside of that, it's pretty quiet. This is a map generated with the data from the Storm Prediction Center. They cover most of South Dakota on Wednesday for some severe weather that would be isolated. That would be the capital in Pierre, South Dakota, and Aberdeen as well. Outside of that, not much more to see there at this time. All right, so let me take you to the Futurecast, because one of the things that you're probably beginning to notice, if you haven't noticed already, is that the radar, when we saw it a moment ago, was beginning to retreat from Virginia Beach. We still had some showers around Ahoskie, so maybe it did not initialize all that well in the short term. But it clearly shows by midnight tonight, we clear out. You see a lot of stars, probably still the bright moon. It was full, I believe, on the 9th of August, but you can see there's still light winds as we go into the midnight hour. Tomorrow morning, maybe a spot shower around the Albemarle, but you'll notice at 7 a.m. most of us are dry out the door, but give it time. If not at noon, watch the afternoon, it comes back, right? Some yellows, some dark greens in Virginia Beach. So if I take this full, you get a sense that there's going to be some pop-up storms, maybe around 3 p.m., also along the eastern shore, and then this pops up. Whoa, that's red. Yeah, it's red. Heavy rain, intense. This is what I mean. It's locally heavy. It could be 1 or 2 communities, and today it happened to be southern Chesapeake and southern sections of Virginia Beach. Tomorrow, this one puts it right squarely over maybe areas around Elizabeth City, into Camden County, Currituck perhaps. We'll have to wait and see how it spins back into even Suffolk if it moves away in that fashion. But then on Wednesday, we do this again. A couple of pop-up storms, heavier rains in spots, and then so it goes. It's about a 40% chance of rain, both on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So tomorrow morning, we're in the lower 70s. A little passing shower for those who start the day in North Carolina. A drop of rain is possible. Lows about 69 in Suffolk, 73 Duck, 73 Cape Charles. Tuesday afternoon, we should be in the mid-80s afternoon highs. And look at this, Franklin about 86, 85 in Portsmouth, 81 Cape Charles. I have us at 86 tomorrow in Norfolk. That would be the hottest day of the month so far. 86, that's still 2 degrees below normal, I know. Weird, isn't it? We're still in that cool pattern, but it's stickier. So we have more rocket fuel for these storms to wring out more rain. So if you see dark clouds, just assume it's going to be downpour rather than a pocket of drizzle. Drizzle is probably, we could write that off when it's this humid. All right, here's your first warning. WTKR News 370 forecast. 86 tomorrow, 88 on Wednesday. Notice the 40% chance of rain is pretty consistent for 3 days in a row. But I'm very hopeful that you're going to love this weekend. Even though it's still sticky, you got lows in the low 70s and mid 80s for highs. I think for summertime days, you're not going to find anything finer. I think it's great. It's comfortable for summertime. I mean, it's short sleeve shirt weather, right? And shorts, bathing suit weather. Hang out in the pool, hang out by the ocean. But right now it looks pretty dry, and I think we'll have to just wait and see. Now next week, depending on how close Erin comes or decides to make a sharp right turn and head northward, we hope. We'll have more updates obviously tomorrow and in the days to come, but that's where things are at this time. I want to give you some updates on my spotlight. I was mentioning to you just a moment ago as I come back on camera. I was talking to you, I was looking at Portsmouth. Portsmouth was a great spot to go because I was able to try and do my best to focus on the historic downtown and then kind of work my way outward. But if you've seen some of these pictures, I've done Poquoson, Smithfield, Moyock, Edenton, Franklin, Exmoor. I've done now 10 of these locations where 80 pictures of each town is on my Facebook page. And this one I took during what was I would call a partly sunny day. Had a chance to go out there. There's my Facebook address if you haven't seen it. Maybe you could also find it on the WTKR page. But it's a lovely place to visit if you haven't been to Portsmouth. They've got an awesome children's museum, very large children's museum. In addition to so many great things, they've got the Portsmouth Naval Hospital that's in the background there. You also have the Naval Shipyard. You've got the Elizabeth River Ferry in Portsmouth, which is so cool. And if it had been brighter, I probably would have done more squinting, but the pictures I think turned out pretty nice. And I was very happy the way they turned out. But just remind you, first warning weather, your 7-day forecast is on the screen. If you are just joining us at this point in time, just know that I have more updates. You'll be able to watch this maybe later this evening on my updates on Erin. And I will also be on at 11 o'clock news. If not tonight, maybe you watch this tomorrow. 11 o'clock nightly, but I encourage you to go to WTKR.com. We have weather updates there as well. Just a reminder, I want you to know too that you can also win free pizza. We're trying to give away, do you know how hard it is to give away free pizza? It can't be that hard. No, it is, because some people think there's strings attached, and believe me, there are no strings attached. All you have to do is go to WTKR.com/Marcos. Just ask the dozens and dozens of people who've won free pizza. Go, it's for real, man. I got some pizza. Check it out. It's very easy to do. It takes about a minute or two. Go to WTKR.com/Marcos. As I said, even if you don't win pizza, you can already take half your pizza price off by using the promo code WTKR50. I love this because some people maybe are more into salads. Maybe you're more into subs, soft, a 2-liter of Pepsi, whatever. You want to get anything you want at Marcos.com. They'll take 50% off right out the door. So it's really easy to use. WTKR is our call letters and the number 50. That will do it. That'll get you across the finish line with half the bill. The Pizza for a Year certificate we'll announce on Thursday, but you got to register to win. It's not that hard to do. And of course, we're very excited about all those who have been participating. So thank you for joining us. Enter to win pizza for a year and to satisfy your appetite. Well, I've gone on long enough. It's now 8:18. Just a reminder, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or if it's serious. Every day is a gift. Doesn't matter if it's stormy or maybe a hurricane in the distance. Every day is a gift. Make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you here tomorrow. Take care.